You ever notice how the world just seems to keep spinning faster, like it's caught in some relentless cyclone of news flashes, social media alerts, and the unending buzz of obligations? It's like we're all strapped into this high-speed ride, and no matter how much we try to hold on, the chaos seeps in, leaving us rattled and, honestly, a bit lost. No wonder you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious. It's the natural fallout of living in a time where everything is urgent, everything demands your attention, and yet, everything feels so out of control. I mean, think about it. Between global crises flashing across screens and the personal whirlwind of deadlines, family dramas, and the ever-present digital noise, it's no surprise our minds start racing. Your heart pounds a little faster, your thoughts jumble up, and suddenly, that peaceful place inside you feels miles away, like some distant shore you're desperately trying to swim to but can't quite reach. It's exhausting. And it's real. But here's the thing, inner peace isn't some mythical state reserved for monks on mountaintops or those strange folks who meditate for hours while the rest of us scroll Tik Tok. No, inner peace is a vital sanctuary you can build right inside yourself, even when the world outside looks like it's falling apart. It's not just a luxury or a nice-to-have. Think of it as a life raft, a steady anchor that keeps you grounded when the waves are crashing high. Without it, the chaos isn't just noise, it becomes a storm that drowns your clarity and clouds your judgment. You might wonder, why is this peace so important? Because when everything outside feels unstable, the calm inside becomes your compass. When your emotions are all over the place, stress, confusion, frustration, they don't just make you feel lousy, they actually mess with your ability to think straight and make good decisions. It's like trying to navigate a ship in thick fog without a compass. You're more likely to get lost or run aground. But, cultivate that inner calm, and suddenly, the fog lifts just enough for you to see the way clearly. I remember a friend once telling me, it's like my brain is a browser with 1,000 tabs open, and I can't find the one I need. Sound familiar? That overloaded feeling is the exact opposite of inner peace. And here's the kicker, it's not just about calming down after a meltdown or taking a quick breather. It's about creating a steady state of being where you're not tossed around by every little disruption, every headline, every unexpected challenge. It's about building resilience from within. No wonder you're chasing that elusive calm, right? Because in this whirlwind, peace feels almost revolutionary. It's a quiet rebellion against the noise. It says, I'm not just a passenger in this chaos. I'm the captain of my own mind. And that's powerful. Now, let's get real for a moment. Feeling overwhelmed or stressed isn't a sign of weakness or failure, it's a human response to very real pressures. The world's chaos presses in, and your mind reacts, it's wired that way. But here's where things get interesting, the Stoics, those ancient philosophers who basically invented the art of living well amidst turmoil, remind us that while we can't always control what happens outside, we are responsible for how we respond inside. You are responsible for your own peace, they say. That's not just some feel-good platitude, it's a practical, actionable truth. The modern world might seem wildly different from ancient Rome, but the emotional challenges? Not so much. People then, like now, dealt with uncertainty, loss, fear, and frustration. The Stoics teach us that peace isn't about ignoring the chaos or pretending everything's fine. It's about mastering your response to chaos, about seeing it clearly without being swept away. Imagine sitting there breathing deeply, while the world seems to be spinning off its axis. You're not frozen or passive, you're steady and clear. So when stress sneaks in, and it will, you can meet it with a calm that's not fragile but rooted. That's a game changer. It means your mind isn't a stormy sea but a calm harbor where you can dock your thoughts and decide what to do next. No wonder you're craving this. Because without it, the emotional turmoil can spiral, clouding your judgment and making problems seem bigger than they are. Here's a little story that stuck with me. A colleague once shared how during a particularly rough patch at work, deadlines piling, tech failures, the usual chaos, she started feeling like she was drowning in stress. She'd try to plow through, but fatigue and frustration always caught up. One day, she decided to pause, just for a minute, and breathe. Not a deep, dramatic breath but a simple, intentional one. She reminded herself, I can't control all of this, but I can control this moment. That tiny shift didn't fix everything overnight, but it gave her a foothold, a moment of peace that kept her from spiraling. Over time, those moments added up, creating a steady calm she could return to no matter how wild things got. That's the essence of why inner peace matters. It doesn't erase chaos, but it changes your relationship with it. You're no longer a leaf caught in the wind but a tree with roots deep enough to stand tall through the storm. No wonder you're searching for that stillness. Because in a world that constantly pulls you in 1,000 directions, finding a place of calm inside isn't just helpful, it's essential for your sanity and your soul's survival. And it's totally possible. So, next time the noise threatens to swallow you whole, remember this: you're not alone in feeling overwhelmed, and more importantly, you've got the power to build a sanctuary within that chaos. It's not about escaping the storm, it's about learning to dance in the rain with a steady heart and a clear mind. That's where we're headed next, diving into practical ways to find that anchor, to build that inner peace, even when the world outside screams otherwise. But for now, just sit with this thought: inner peace isn't a hidden treasure buried somewhere far away. It's already inside you, waiting to be claimed like a quiet island in the middle of a noisy sea. And you deserve to find it. So, we've talked about why inner peace feels like that rare oasis in a desert of noise and chaos. Now, the big question: how do you actually get there? How do you begin to build that sanctuary inside yourself when everything outside is pulling you in every possible direction? It's not about some grand gesture or a sudden epiphany. Nope, it starts small, with presence. Mindfulness, in its simplest form, is just being here now. Sounds almost too easy, right? But honestly, that's the trick. It's about fully tuning into what you're experiencing, your thoughts, feelings, the sensations in your body, without judging or trying to fix anything. Like sitting quietly and watching a storm roll by without freaking out. It's not about stopping the storm, it's about learning to observe it calmly. Have you ever noticed how your mind races the most when you're trying to sleep or when you're stuck in traffic? Mindfulness flips that script. It says, hey, instead of fighting the noise in your head, why not just watch it? It's like becoming the calm observer of your own inner chatter. This practice doesn't just create a momentary pause, it builds a muscle of awareness that helps you catch yourself before stress spirals out of control. Deep breathing is another surprisingly simple tool that packs a punch. When you feel your heart rate climbing or your thoughts scattering, a few intentional deep breaths can bring you back from the edge. It's almost comical how something so basic can have such a profound effect. But it works because it taps into your body's natural calming system, telling your brain, hey, we're safe here. Try it now: breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4, then exhale gently through your mouth for 6. Feels different, right? That's the power of presence. But presence alone isn't the whole picture. Another cornerstone is acceptance. And no, I'm not talking about passive resignation or giving up. Acceptance means recognizing what you can't change and choosing to stop fighting against it. It's like holding your hands open to whatever life throws at you instead of clenching them into fists. This mental shift creates space to breathe, to think clearly, and to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Think about it this way: when you resist reality, you're adding extra suffering on top of whatever's already happening. It's like trying to swim upstream against a strong current, exhausting and often futile. But when you accept the current, you conserve energy, find your footing, and even steer your way through. That's where calmness begins to emerge naturally. Let me share a story to paint this out a bit more. A friend of mine was going through a really tough time: job loss, relationship stress, the whole emotional roller coaster. She told me she spent weeks trying to control every outcome, hammering her head against walls, trying to force things to be different. Eventually, she hit a wall of exhaustion and realized she couldn't change the past or predict the future. When she started practicing acceptance, she didn't stop caring or trying, she just stopped wasting energy on things she couldn't influence. That small shift made all the difference. Suddenly, she felt lighter, clearer, and more capable of handling what came next. Now, onto some practical strategies that bring all this into everyday life. First, setting healthy boundaries with technology is huge. It's easy to underestimate just how much digital noise drains your mental space. Constant notifications, endless scrolling, and the pressure to respond instantly. It's like inviting chaos right into your living room. Try carving out tech-free zones or times during your day, maybe during meals or right before bed. You don't have to go full monk mode, but a little digital detox can create surprising pockets of calm. Self-care isn't just bubble baths and spa days, it's about honoring your basic needs consistently. Sleep, nutrition, physical movement, and downtime are the foundation. When these are neglected, stress piles up faster than you can say, overwhelmed. Even small rituals, like a short walk outside, writing in a journal, or simply pausing to savor a cup of tea, can anchor you in the present and reinforce self-respect. And here's something that often gets overlooked: gratitude. It sounds cliché, I know, but cultivating gratitude doesn't mean ignoring hardships or pretending life is perfect. It's about actively noticing the good, even when things are rough. That little mental shift rewires your brain to see possibility and resilience instead of just problems and setbacks. You're not denying reality, you're balancing it. One day, during a particularly hectic week, I started jotting down 3 things I was grateful for every night before bed. Some nights it was as simple as warm socks or a funny meme. Other nights, it was deeper things like a friend who listened or a moment of quiet. Over time, those small notes built a kind of mental cushion, a reminder that even amidst chaos, there's always something steady, something good. So, these aren't abstract ideas or lofty goals reserved for the ultra-zen. They're practical, accessible, and doable by anyone willing to try. Mindfulness helps you anchor in the present, acceptance frees you from futile resistance, healthy boundaries protect your mental space, self-care replenishes your reserves, and gratitude shifts your perspective. Together, these form a toolkit for cultivating inner peace. The beauty is, you don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Start with one small habit, maybe 5 minutes of mindful breathing in the morning or a tech-free dinner, and build from there. The Stoics say, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Action, no matter how small, is what turns these concepts from theory into living practice. And trust me, life will still throw curveballs. You won't suddenly become a calm Zen master immune to stress. But what changes is how you handle the curveballs. Instead of being knocked off balance, you learn to bend, adapt, and maybe even find a strange kind of peace in the unexpected. This isn't about perfection or never feeling overwhelmed again. It's about creating a mental and emotional foundation that's strong enough to weather life's ups and downs. So, as you start weaving these practices into your daily rhythm, remember, inner peace isn't a final destination. It's a way of traveling through the chaos with more grace and resilience than you thought possible. And hey, if you ever feel stuck or like you're failing at this whole peace thing, that's totally normal. You're human. The key is to keep coming back, like a gentle tide returning to the shore. Each moment of mindfulness, each breath of acceptance, each act of self-care, and each gratitude note is a step closer to that steady calm we all crave. So, keep it simple. Keep it real. And most importantly, keep it kind to yourself. Because the journey toward inner peace is less about battling the storm and more about learning to be your own calm center within it. You know, there's something almost paradoxical about inner peace. It's not about being passive or checked out. It's actually a powerhouse of strength, a kind of quiet resilience that lets you face life's chaos without losing your center. Stoics try not to be confused with the idea of being emotionless or indifferent. Instead, they show us that real strength comes from stillness, from a calm mind that's ready to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It's like standing firm in the eye of a storm, steady, unshaken, but fully aware of the winds whipping around you. This strength in stillness transforms how you interact with the world and the people in it. When you're able to maintain calm amidst chaos, you become a sort of anchor for others. Imagine those moments when tensions rise, at work, in your family, or even among friends. Someone's angry, someone's stressed, and emotions are bubbling over. It's tempting to get pulled into the drama, right? But the person who's found that inner peace, who's practiced presence and acceptance, can break the cycle. They don't escalate the conflict, instead, they diffuse it simply by being steady themselves. Think of leaders you admire, those who seem to carry a calm confidence even in the toughest moments. Their ability to stay grounded doesn't come from having all the answers or controlling every situation, it comes from mastering their inner world. Historical figures like Marcus Aurelius or modern leaders who face crises with composure show us that leadership isn't just about strategy or charisma. It's about emotional resilience, that inner calm that inspires others to follow, to trust, to feel safe even when the road ahead looks uncertain. And it's not just about leadership on a grand scale. On a personal level, maintaining inner peace reshapes your relationships. When you're calm, you listen better. You respond instead of react. You create space for understanding rather than conflict. That ripple effect can change the dynamics in your home, your friendships, and your workplace. People sense when you're grounded, and it invites a different kind of connection, one that's based on trust and respect rather than chaos and tension. But here's the real kicker, the moments of chaos and challenge. They're not just obstacles to endure or escape. They're opportunities, chances to grow stronger, to deepen your self-awareness, and to build emotional muscle. Stoics say that adversity is like a gym for the soul. Every difficult situation is a chance to practice resilience, patience, and wisdom. It's not that hardship is good because it hurts, it's that hardship becomes a catalyst for growth when you face it with the right mindset. I remember a story from a friend who went through a messy breakup. At first, it felt like her world was crumbling, heartbreak, confusion, anger, you name it. But instead of spiraling, she started reflecting on what this pain was teaching her. She realized it was forcing her to confront old fears and patterns she'd ignored for years. That process was rough, no doubt, but it also helped her build a deeper sense of self and emotional strength. She told me, it was like I was being forged in fire. Not because I wanted to suffer, but because I chose to learn from the pain rather than run from it. That perspective shift, from victim to learner, from chaos to classroom, is a cornerstone of inner peace as resilience. It means you don't have to be perfect or have all the answers. You just need to be willing to face discomfort, to sit with uncertainty, and to keep growing even when it's hard. It's a messy, beautiful process that transforms not just how you survive life's storms, but how you thrive through them. And here's where it gets even more interesting, this inner strength doesn't isolate you. In fact, it connects you more deeply to others. When you're rooted in peace, you're less likely to judge or lash out. You're more empathetic, patient, and open. You become part of a ripple effect that spreads calm and clarity far beyond your own experience. It's like a hidden superpower that quietly influences the world around you. So, this idea of inner peace being passive? Forget that. It's active, dynamic, and deeply empowering. It's about choosing your response, even when everything inside screams to react. It's about holding your ground, even when the pressure to give in or lash out feels overwhelming. And you know what? This kind of resilience is something you can develop. It's not a fixed trait you're born with. Like any skill, it takes practice and patience. But every time you catch yourself before reacting, every time you choose calm over chaos, you're strengthening that muscle. You're building a foundation that won't crumble the next time life throws a curveball. So, as you face your own challenges, whether they're big or small, remember that inner peace is your ally, your secret weapon. It's not about avoiding problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about standing tall in the middle of the mess, clear-headed and steady, ready to navigate whatever comes next. And that steadiness, it's contagious. It inspires those around you, creates safer spaces, and builds stronger, more compassionate relationships. It's leadership in its most authentic form. And it's something you can cultivate starting right now. Now, here's the real deal, sustaining inner peace isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a daily commitment, a practice that asks for ongoing attention and care. You might think, okay, I've got this mindfulness thing down, I accept what I can't change, and I'm setting boundaries. Great. But life's chaos doesn't just press pause. It keeps coming, and so does the need for you to return to your calm center again and again. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't plant seeds once and expect a lush paradise forever without watering, weeding, or some sunshine. You show up daily, even when it's hard or you're tired. That's what maintaining inner peace looks like, those daily rituals that might seem small but add up to a resilient foundation. Meditation, journaling, moments of reflection, these aren't just for the ultra-spiritual. They're practical tools that help you check in with yourself, notice when stress is creeping in, and recalibrate before things spiral. I remember a day when everything felt off, the emails piled up, a tough conversation loomed, and my mind was racing in all directions. Instead of diving headfirst into the chaos, I took a 5-minute pause. Closed my eyes, breathed deeply, and just sat with whatever was there without judgment. That little break didn't fix the problems instantly, but it changed my whole approach. I felt less reactive, more clear-headed, and able to tackle the day with a steadier mindset. Those small moments of practice build up over time, like compound interest for your mental health. But here's something that trips a lot of us up, the idea that inner peace means perfection or never feeling off balance. It's not about that at all. Life is inherently unpredictable and imperfect. You can't control every twist and turn, nor should you expect to. Embracing imperfection and uncertainty is part of the journey. It's like learning to dance in the rain instead of waiting for the storm to pass. When you accept that life will throw curveballs, you free yourself from the frustration of unmet expectations and open the door to resilience. One way to cultivate this acceptance is by reframing uncertainty not as a threat but as a natural part of life's rhythm. This shift in perspective is subtle but powerful. Instead of fearing what you can't know or control, you start to lean into the mystery with curiosity and openness. It's not about being reckless or careless, but about finding peace in not having all the answers. That's a tough lesson but a crucial one. And if you ever feel like you're wandering through this process alone, remember there's a whole world of resources out there. Mindfulness courses, supportive communities, books, and guided practices can offer guidance and camaraderie. Sometimes just knowing others are walking the same path can be a huge relief. It reminds you that cultivating inner peace is a lifelong journey, one where setbacks are normal and growth is ongoing. So, as you continue exploring and building your own practice, keep in mind that inner peace isn't a final destination or a permanent state of bliss. It's a living, breathing process that unfolds over time. With each day, each mindful breath, each act of acceptance, you're weaving a stronger safety net for your mind and heart. It equips you to navigate whatever chaos life throws your way, not by avoiding it, but by meeting it with a calm, steady spirit. You're not just surviving the storm, you're learning to sail through it with grace. And that's a skill worth cultivating for a lifetime. If you love the story, like the video and subscribe.